Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happiness Today YouTube channel. We're already on countdown on May 29th. The question is, who would they inaugurate? Would it be Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who INEC have pronounced the president-elect? Or would it be Peter Obi, who is contesting against that particular pronouncement insisting that he won the election? Or would it be Atiku Abubakar, who says his mandate was also stolen and he shouldn't be made the second but made the first and to be sworn in? As the plot against Peter Obi thickens, the question is, would he be able to withstand the storm? Would he overcome or would he succumb? Well, time will tell. The moment is going to find out what all this is all about. But before we do that, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. A lot of conspiracy web around, and many Nigerians are actually pointing fingers at both federal government and APC, allegedly so. Well, according to the news, Mr. Peter Obi, Labour Party presidential candidate in the recently concluded general election, had repeatedly vowed in the course of his campaign to dismantle what he described as a structure of criminality holding Nigeria to ransom. But if the former Anambra State governor, who eventually came third in the result announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), had any illusions about how deeply entrenched the structure he seeks to dismantle is, and how difficult it would be to dismantle, recent development would have cleared such illusions. Not only did the structure, quote unquote, eventually ensure that he failed to win the presidential election, which many observers said fell short of expectations, he now has personal safety and the survival of his party to worry about. Amid what looks like a well-detailed plot to bring him down, with the possibility or possible intention of forcing him to abandon the legal challenge he mounted against Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the declared winner of the election, his party, the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) and INEC. Obi's Labour Party is now a divided house, riddled with crisis, which his supporters say is being orchestrated by the ruling APC and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect, but which the ruling party has denied, asking the party to carry its cross. Recall that on Thursday, April 6th, 7 members of the party's National Working Committee (NWC) installed the National Vice Chairman South, Lamide Basha Apapa, as the acting chairman of the party, following a court order restraining Julius Abore from parading himself as chairman. Apapa, whose entrance into the fray rattled Obi supporters who accuse him of being used by APC and Tinubu to destroy the party and undermine Obi's legal challenge against the outcome of the presidential election, has continued to take decisions on behalf of the party. He has since reversed the suspension of members who were suspended by Abure-led NWC National Working Committee over alleged anti-party activities in what many say is part of a wider strategy of bringing the party down. Political buccaneers surfaced from everywhere, seeking to reap where they did not sow, said Prince Kennedy Ahanucho, acting national youth leader of the party, who alleged that the relentless attack on its leadership targeted at destabilizing it was the handiwork of APC. The first crisis was when a former deputy national chairman, Callistus Okafor, whose tenure had long elapsed, suddenly resurfaced and attempted to hijack the leadership, but that was resisted, he said. The court punctured all his antics and permanently shut his evil enterprises. However, all hell was let loose when at the formation of Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council, the name of the then National Publicity Secretary, Abayomi Arambabi, didn't appear as the head of media and publicity of the PCC. That didn't sit or even sink well with him. All his efforts to force his way through were unsuccessful, as his treacherous past manifested vividly and spoke against him. He then resorted to declaring war against the party and the leadership. Ohanuchu further alleged that party members who didn't share the vision and the mission for a new Nigeria unfortunately played into the hands of desperate politicians, especially those of the APC stock, to stock crisis within the Labour Party in order to derail the party from pursuing its stolen mandate. Yet, while Labour Party continues to fight internal battles, Obi himself is facing mounting personal upheaval. His phone lines, sources said, have since been bugged by security operatives, his movement tracked, and lately it has emerged that his identity may have also been duplicated for possible ulterior motive. The Labour Party candidate's recent detention by immigration officials at the Heathrow Airport in London on April 7th, the Good Friday, over what officials later described as a duplication of his identity, gave an indication of possible use of his identity to commit crimes in the United Kingdom, with likely intention of setting him up. Reacting to the London incident in a statement on Wednesday, Diran Onifa, the head of the Obidati Media Office, noted that it took the intervention of Nigerians and other Africans who began to agitate for the airport officials to reveal their reason for holding the former Anambra State governor. The immigration officials, who were also taken aback at the reaction of the people, were forced to reveal that Obi was being questioned for a duplication offense, meaning that someone has been impersonating him in London, he said. The higher implication of the offense is that the impersonator could be committing all kinds of witty crimes and other dubious acts, and it will be recorded in Obi's name. Since the impersonator is still at large, the scenario is unimaginable as Obi could be implicated in a series of forbidden acts and even be framed in a manner that could be a huge embarrassment to him, his family, his party, the obedient movement, and indeed Nigeria, where he currently and indisputably remains the conscience of the people. He further said, Obidati Media Office records that our principal has been under all kinds of attacks since February 25, 2023 presidential election, in which, as the standard bearer of the Labour Party, he put up an outstanding showing coming third out of 18 contestants as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), even though his supporters and many other election watchers, including international observers, believe very strongly that he won the election but was manipulated out, since he was told to go to court if he feels strongly about the election, which all international monitors chorused were flawed and full of imperfections, and he accepted there have been several attacks on him from all corners. Even the federal government, who directed him to go to court, even dispatched the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, to the United States to attempt at demarcating him, and Obi's lines was also blocked when they were possibly looking for information to portray him badly before a section of the country who had voted for him massively. As if that were not getting the desired result of denting his image and possibly placing the traducers under a heavier conscience load, they tried to persuade him to leave the country and go take a rest. It's also not impossible that those urging him to leave the country may have planted impersonators ostensibly to tar the eagle's immaculate appearance. The battle frontiers are widening. A number of news websites have since been set up for the purpose of spreading false information about Labour Party candidates. And a fortnight ago, the Minister of Culture and Tourism traveled to the United States to accuse him and his running mate Dati Baba Ahmed of treason. The accusation had followed a statement by the Department of State Services (DSS) alleging that some opposition figures were plotting interim government by instigating protests, obtaining frivolous court orders, never mind that only the government of the day and the armed forces have such powers to install an interim government. We want to tell those who are heating up Nigeria and have now extended their actions to the diaspora that they have started what they cannot finish, because the actions in the United Kingdom will continue to haunt them, declared Comrade Goodluck Ibem, president of the Coalition of Southeast Youth Leaders, COSEL, that's COSEYL, in a statement issued on Friday. If they love this country, they should be thinking of how to allow judiciary to either authenticate their mandate, which will be argues wasn't deserved, or throw it away. However, if they think they can go dirty, we all will roll in the mud and get dirty, because enough is enough. They have done their worst by duplicating Obi's identity, a move that places his life in danger because it's obvious someone is impersonating him. The individuals want to implicate Obi in all manner of dubious and criminal activities, roping him into an offense he knows nothing about. They just wanted to frame him up for any criminal act an impersonator does. or the impersonator does rather. People whose criminal records are all over the internet are desperately looking for a channel to create some criminal records for Obi, so that when when the numerous criminal records are opened, they equally point at those ones they created and hang on him, but they have failed. Obi, who has maintained that he won the election, has soon after the vote we announced vowed to prove his case in court while repeatedly asking his supporters to maintain peace. But despite his insistence on taking the legal route to pursue his case, the APC-led federal government and his supporters have continued to accuse him of trying to destabilize the country and of treason, and as himself has admitted, he's being pressured to go on exile. There's too much suffering in this country, and that is what we, the in Labour Party, are fighting to end. There are many thieves in this country, so Labour Party is fighting to create a new Nigeria. I am here with you, and nobody's going to force me to leave Nigeria, Obi restated on Thursday at Onitsha Holiday Resort, Onitsha, Anambra State, Kai. An allegation of coup plant I take that again. An allegation of coup plot to install interim government leveled by Femi Fani-Kayode, a former aviation minister and one of the spokespersons of the Tinubu campaign ahead of February 25th presidential election, had earned him days in the DSS detention room, during which he was grilled for hours. Garba Shehu, spokesperson for President Muhammadu Buhari, and Ami had, amid the controversy, issued statements on more than one occasion to dismiss the claim, and FFK himself would later admit that he made an error of judgment. However, out of nowhere, the DSS itself issued a statement on March 29 amid countering arguments about the outcome of the election, confirming that there's a plan by some misguided political actors to form an interim government on May 29th. Peter Afunanya, the DSS spokesperson who issued a statement titled DSS confirms plot for interim government by misguided political actors, said that the agency had identified some key players in the plot for interim government in Nigeria. Afunanya alleged that the planners in their many meetings have weighed various options, which include, among others, to sponsor endless violent mass protests in major cities to warrant a declaration of state of emergency. Another, he said, is to obtain frivolous court injunctions to frustrate the inauguration of new executive administration and legislative houses at federal and state levels. He ended by warning that while its monitoring continues, the DSS will not hesitate to take decisive and necessary legal steps against those misguided elements to frustrate the obnoxious intentions. Obi has, in the DSS statement, only helped to heighten tension in the polity and made the post-election debate for the most part about interim government and its plotters, and less about shortcomings of the electoral process and legal challenges that followed with a release of an audio allegedly to be a conversation between Obi and David Oyedepo, founder of Living Faith Ministry, in which he described the election as a religious war. Obi has since dismissed the audio as fake and doctored, but the controversy over same has persisted, with routine media attacks directed at him. Many were, however, quick to call the minister, that's Lai Mohammed, over the allegation which he has made a while ago. Some international media organizations and think tanks have admitted that they were misinformed on the chances of Labour Party candidate Peter Obi in winning the 2023 presidential election. But in all of it, elections are over and we are in court to retrieve our stolen mandates. Let me reiterate that we are doing so through our all lawful and peaceful options in line with our legal system and constitution, and I continue to implore all Nigerians to remain peaceful and law-abiding. Those fixed with heating up politics, creating division and tension and hatred within and outside Nigeria should remember that Nigeria is our only country. Our focus should be on how to address the litany of challenges facing us, such as flawed electoral processes, the perilous state of our economies, unsustainable debt burden, lamentable unemployment and inflation, insecurity, and multidimensional poverty. A new Nigeria is indeed possible, and God will help us. Wow, this is coming from a cross-section of everything that's befallen Peter Obi. We don't know how long his stamina will take this. But as Nigerians await the legal tussle, we also pray that it begins quite as soon as possible, so by May 29 we will know who eventually will be the president of Nigeria. That's going to wrap it up. Let's meet in the conversation. What's your take? Have a nice time.